I'm here today in amongst the hustle, the bustle and the beauty of South Africa's largest online floral and gifting store with Ryan Bucker, the man behind it all. Thanks for joining us, Ryan.
Pleasure.
So Ryan, tell us a little bit more about who Ryan Bucker was before the journey with Netflorist.
So I studied law at university, and then I went overseas for a while. I worked for a hotel group for a while. Then I came back and I joined an internet service provider called NetActive, and it was really inside that business that we started Netflorist. It's not only me, I've got two partners, and we founded Netflorist inside that internet business, and that was in 1999, so it was a while ago, and it's been a journey since then.
So you started right off the bat from an e-commerce perspective. Your intention was to go into an online business when you started Netflorist?
Yes, it was. We were trying to prove a kind of a test case with e-commerce in South Africa, really in the early days. But pretty quickly we decided to go after the flower and gifted category, specifically in an online way. We thought that, and we hoped that South Africans would gravitate towards this category, on flowers and gifts, in the internet and transact on the internet. And very fortunately, our ideas have been proved right. And because of that, we've been able to create a business that is the largest floral business in South Africa, but we are mainly online. So it's one of a few categories where the category has moved online, the whole category.
But of all the online businesses you could have started, why floral?
So we didn't really understand this at the time, but we've come to understand it. We were mostly really lucky, that's true. I can't put it any other way, but the reason why flowers are particularly conducive to an online transaction is before we came along, people were buying flowers a lot. We didn't change that. And the way that they were doing that, they were calling a florist. So they weren't really going into a florist, they were actually calling them on the phone. So the problem, one of the problems with the internet, one of the barriers is people like to touch and feel the product. So it's why it's quite hard to sell a couch on the internet. People want to sit and touch and feel it. But even before we came along, people weren't touching flowers before they bought them. They were calling a florist. So the internet didn't take away from that experience. People weren't touching and feeling the product anyway. In fact, it added to the experience because people could now see the product. They could have a look at it, they could see it online, and instead of phoning somebody and trusting their judgment, they could look at some pictures, pick the one they wanted, and get that delivered. So the internet, flowers and the internet are a very good match. One of the categories that are a very good match, like books and CDs and software, these are particularly conducive to that.
Okay. Now, obviously, e-commerce is largely a systems-based application. How important is the role of systems within your own organization outside of the customer-facing application of e-commerce?
Right. So look, it's very important. I mean, a customer can get through the process and order something from us, but that's only the first step in our business. The other step is to get that fulfilled, get that delivered, get it picked and packed and all sorts of things, and systems work for that. So it's a very important part of our business. Having said that, we are not a technology company at all. We're a retailer. And we use technology in the same way as a pick and pan and macro and shop down the road if they're using technology would in their business. We're not a technology company. In fact, we're not even really an e-commerce company. It happens to be that the way that we sell most of our product is via our website. But we are a retailer, and in the new world, in the new economy, I think the distinction between an e-commerce and technology, etc., is going to go away. If you sell product, you sell product. How you sell it, that's another question. But we're a retailer like any other retailer.
A lot of our small and medium-sized business owners and entrepreneurs that look to us for advice complain about really tough competitive markets. Now, obviously, the market around floral and gifting was saturated with your local mom and pop familiar stores. What were your challenges when you went into this business, and how did you sort that out?
Sure, so I don't know how much time we got. We could spend a lot of time on challenges because we've had our fair share like any business. So one of our first challenges, and it took a while for us to understand this, is really we came in with some technology knowledge and e-commerce, but we didn't have retail skills to really understand that. And it took us a while. What I said to you before, that we're a retailer, we actually didn't understand it in our journey. So it took us a while to understand that, hold on, we need retail skills, we need merchandising skills, we need to buy well, to sell well. And these kind of disciplines were not in our business in the early days, and it was hard to run a business without those core retail skills. One of the other challenges we had early on is because we didn't have physical stores, we had to convince South Africans that it's easy, convenient, hassle-free to order flowers over the internet, it's good value for money, all these kind of things. At a time when most South Africans were not buying anything online. So that was a particular challenge we had. And also we had a challenge in building a brand with very little money. We started this business with almost no cash. And today we've got some kind of a brand. I don't know where it is in the scale of things, but we've certainly got some kind of a brand. And we've had to be very innovative on the marketing side to build a brand without a lot of access to cash.
All right, so this pretty much sounds like the story of a typical South African entrepreneur, where you had limited skills in the area, limited financial resources, and here we are.
Right.
What do you think you did differently?
So one of the things that we did early on, which again is very fortuitous, is in the early days of e-commerce in South Africa, there were a lot of companies that started and were spending a hell of a lot of money in the hope that at some stage they would work out how to start making some profit out of that money. And we didn't have the money, so we couldn't spend it. And most of those businesses who spent a lot of money on marketing and systems, etc., in the early days are gone. They're not around anymore because they basically couldn't get more funding for what they needed to do, and the business proposition wasn't there. So we went slowly, and slowly has helped us kind of manage our growth, not overcapitalize. So those are one thing that we did, I guess, along the way. And I think the other thing was, which was again very lucky for us, is we were one of the early e-commerce guys. So we were part of quite a big public relations engine that was happening in South Africa. And when anybody was talking about e-commerce in the early days, they were kind of talking about us as well, and that helped our brand along the way. And as well as that, I guess on top of that is we always try to focus on the customer. And we get that right a lot of the time, and sometimes we get that wrong, and we're learning all the time and building and developing. But we've always worried about the customer at the end of the day and what they experience, etc. And because of that, we have a lot of repeat business, and that helps because repeat business isn't as expensive. You don't have to go and acquire it, you just have to make sure that your customers are happy. So all of those things, plus a lot of luck and all sorts of things, have helped us grow and manage a business from startup phase to what is now not startup.
Definitely not startup anymore. You did mention that at the time you entered the market as an e-commerce based business, or rather having e-commerce as a part of your business, that e-commerce was not very familiar to South Africans. How did you manage what South Africans are typically known for in terms of the fear around purchasing online and transacting online?
Right. So, look, I don't know how well we managed and how well we didn't, because I'm sure there were lots of people who would have bought from us but were scared and didn't. But from right in the early stages, we had a call center. It was a big part of our business because although customers weren't necessarily transacting over the call center, they knew that it was there and they knew that they could call it at any time, and that we weren't operating out of a garage somewhere and you couldn't get hold of us. Our call center has helped along the way to kind of allay fears of, well, if something goes wrong, like how do I get hold of these guys? That's the first thing. The second thing is right from day one we've had what we call a 100% guarantee, which is if you're not happy, we refund you. So the risk that people have taken with us actually hasn't been much of a risk, because if something went wrong and they weren't happy, or even if something didn't go wrong and they weren't happy, we've refunded their money within the first 48 hours. So that has helped, I think, go some way to saying to people, look, give us a go. And there's no risk. We back our service, but if something goes wrong, you won't be out of pocket. And maybe that's gone some of the way.
So when we speak about refunding, or the 48-hour, 24-hour promise around refunding if you are unhappy, it must mean that you're taking on a lot of risk in terms of service delivery and the potential to have to refund lots of customers.
Right.
What kind of infrastructure and processes do you build into your business to ensure quality assurance?
So they're quite a lot. Probably too many to mention, but one of the things that we do is we have a dashboard, an operations dashboard. So at any one time in our business, I know where an order is. So I know if the order's just been placed, if it's being made up, if it's gone out for delivery, if it's come back from delivery, if it's etc., etc. And that helps me know that at the end of the day, out of the X number of orders that we've got, these number are being delivered, and if they haven't been delivered, why haven't they been delivered? The customer's been contacted, etc. So we're quite proactive with that. As well as that, we've got a we ask the people that receive our flowers to send us pictures of what they received, and we to rate our service. Are they happy? Are they not happy? So that helps us understand, hold on, we're delivering in Grahamstown, but there's a problem in Grahamstown, and we can jump onto that and sort that out. So we try and be quite proactive in getting our customers to feed information to us that we can answer. That's helpful.
I see lots of Netflorist trucks coming in and out of your delivery.
Sure.
Do you run your own logistics here?
We do, yeah, we do. So about 6 years ago, we made a cool decision in our business. At that stage, we were taking orders and we were outsourcing all the operations of it. And we bought it in-house, which is why you see a warehouse, and we've got in Cape Town, Durban, and we've got another one in Joburg and one in Victoria, is that we've bought the main part of our operations in-house. So the vehicles are ours, the employees are ours, the flowers are ours. And we've done that because at core, that's what we do. At core, we're a delivery of flowers and gifts business. And so it's hard to outsource your core. We found it difficult, and because of that, we've grown.
Okay. But how big a role does logistics play in the business? Because from what I understand, people just want to get the flowers.
Right. So, I mean, it's a funny thing. The internet, so much stuff that happens on the internet is virtual. That we'll have, we'll get somebody to order, and like half an hour later they'll phone us and they say, "Where are the flowers?" Because they just clicked. So then, can't the flowers just appear somewhere? But in actual fact, the bulk of the people that we employ are in operations. So the marketing and technology and those kind of people we've got, and merchandising, we've certainly got those kind of people, but they're the minority. The majority of our business is making up and delivering product. Because firstly, we deliver a very perishable good. So there's a real skill and art to delivering flowers fresh to somebody's house. And secondly, what we deliver doesn't come off a shelf. We don't deliver a printer toner that was manufactured. We are making everything we deliver. So it means we have a lot of people involved in that process. It's very time consuming, it's very onerous for us, but we think it's our competitive advantage that we do that all ourselves, we don't outsource it, and we worry about it all day.
So I can see quite clearly how you've implemented lots of processes at least. You speak about you being very operation-centric that have contributed towards your sustainability and your reliability and obviously your reputation.
Right.
But what role has innovation played in your new divisions? Because where other people would have stopped and gone, well, we've got this great empire growing, you've continued to grow.
Right. So the reason why we innovate is, and it's mostly on the product side, is that our main business is flowers. And it's flowers to send as a gift. But flowers only tick a box for certain occasions. So obviously the Valentine's Days and Mother's Days and those kind of things, and get-wells and romance during the year and birthdays. But flowers are often not the right product to send. So, if your father-in-law is having a birthday, you're not going to send him flowers, very unlikely. So what we've done is we've innovated on the product side to come up with a range of products that tick a lot of the other gifting occasions that flowers don't do. And the truth is, in the gifting category, flowers is a small part of it. The whole gifting market in South Africa is much bigger than the flower market. I mean, almost everything that you see in a shop in Sandton City can be a gift. So the gifting market is massive. We dominate one side of it, which is flowers, and we're now going into a lot of the other categories, but really only as gifts. We're not trying to be a shopping mall. We want to say that if you have a gifting need, come to us and we'll tick whatever occasion it is.
Ryan, if you had one or two key lessons that you would like to share with the entrepreneurs that subscribe to our channel, what would those be?
Well, so something that I don't think we've done enough in this business and we're starting to do is to test and measure. So, especially with technology and the internet, but in a lot of industries, it's much easier to capture data very quickly. So you can try something, understand if it works or not, and then don't do it anymore, or change it and try it again. And what I've found in our business, in our history, is we've often stayed with things that haven't worked too long, instead of putting our effort into things that work. And we're starting now to test and measure and respond quickly, instead of taking 5 years to change something in our business that, if we really understood, we would understand wasn't working. So my, I guess, advice really from experience is to measure stuff straight away, test it, measure it, change it if need be, grow it if it's doing well, and don't put energy into it if it's not doing well. I think a lot of businesses spend too much time in areas that don't add value to their business, and eventually somebody says, why are we actually doing this thing, and they stop doing it, but they've spent 4 years on something that wasn't a good idea. So test and measure would be my piece of advice.
Great. Thank you so much for spending the time with us
It's a
today,
pleasure.
and we really look forward to getting lots of Netflorist deliveries and using your e-commerce store.
It's a pleasure. I'm set.
Thank you. This is the first thing we've had to reshoot.
All right,
Nice, thank you.
you ready?
Okay. So there you have it, guys. The key to true operational efficiency and sustainable growth boils down to having solid processes and systems within your business, whether it's big or small. But the key to true and sustainable growth is your ability to innovate. Business agility, understanding that your customer needs will change and that you need to be able to evolve and change with them. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.